So, Roy, you are remote. You're actually sitting in your vehicle, and we're recording this episode. So, hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We are doing a shop talk today about battle belts, and specifically a battle belt from Wilder Tactical. So, as always, this is Eric, your host, and my other host, Roy.
Remotely.
And today we're going to be hitting, remotely. Roy is remote today. So we're trying out new stuff, kind of new capabilities. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Roy for the plugins.
Hey, what's up, guys? Glad to be back here. Real quick, if you guys are enjoying our content, do not forget to subscribe and hit the like button on everything. Jump down in the comments and carry on this conversation that we're going to have today. And definitely jump over and check out some of our supporters. Tampa One Mortgage, if you're looking to move into the Tampa Bay area or the Florida market. Wiseman Company, Lunar Concepts. If you ever want to train with us, jump over to JTAC Ranch. Jump on the website, look at the different class dates. And if you're looking for any gun stuff, jump over to gunandammoshop.com. And that's the best way to support us. And last but not least, we have more shirts and more hats on the way. Yes, we keep getting asked for more hats and shirts. You guys have been freaking awesome buying these things. They're going out faster than I can physically pack them up. So we really appreciate it. We have more coming. Unfortunately, the chain supply is a little slow, but they're coming.
Absolutely, Roy. And also something else, in the timing that this episode is coming out, we are also releasing our very own placard, our own chest rig. So it's called the Ghost. If you are listening to this and you did not get a chance to get a Ghost chest rig, we'll be doing those and having those on the site. So we'll have some gear items, some nylon items that we have tested and trained with and saw as a need. And, we'll be talking about that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's the best way to support us, like Roy said, and to really help us continue on the show. So with that, battle belts. Man, this is really one of those important. I think this is our first gear episode that we're actually doing. We haven't actually. We've always talked about parts for tools, gun stuff, but we haven't actually hit on gear specifically. So yeah, actually, battle belts. What was your first battle belt?
Man, I tell you, Eric. Actually, my first battle belt. I am very young when it comes to battle belts. For years in training, it was kind of that thing where you were looked upon as, if you were not active military, law enforcement, or anything like that, wearing a battle belt was, you weren't supposed to do it. So I always ran more of like a race gun belt, kind of like a USPSA belt is what I always had. I always did throw some medical on there because I've always been a firm believer in that. But up until now, I ended up getting a Wilder Tactical belt, actually, that you turned me on to. That was actually my true first battle belt that I set up. And since then, I've been experimenting with a bunch of different setups with it. And I think I've come to what I like the best so far. But yeah, honestly, man, my first real true battle belt was a Wilder Tactical. So I don't have a lot to compare it against, but it's been great. And I haven't seen any other, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, actually, I think I do remember before the Wilder Tactical, I think you were on the Blue Alpha. Alpha gear?
Yeah, that was the Blue Alpha.
Yeah.
I did, you are right. I bought a Blue Alpha, and it was set up very much like kind of like a race gun belt a little bit still.
Yeah.
So it was an inner-outer belt, a couple mag pouches on it, and I think a tourniquet pouch. So
it was very USPSA or like competition, three-gun competition.
Yeah, it was very set up from that mindset.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I mean, for me, I go way back with battle belts, and I think my first battle belt was actually a USGI web belt, like a green buckled web belt that had the holes in it. That was my very first battle belt. And Roy, what are you smoking over there?
choking on a beverage.
Wrong pipe.
Sorry.
Put liquid down the breathe
tried
hole.
to hit the mute button. Exactly.
So
I tried to hit the mute button on my phone here, but
yeah. So I actually went and I was doing a USGI green battle belt or green belt web belt, and I was actually putting I had a Black Hawk holster. Those were all the rage back in 2009, 2010, and had a tactical tailor drop leg dump pouch and some other pouches on this web belt that I had zip tied these pouches to. And that was actually my first battle belt. And I remember, I think it was like in 2011, 2012, right before I went to Afghanistan for the second time, I had gotten the high speed gear padded, like real like cushiony padded belt, and I was like,
Yeah.
had the non-slip
I
rubber,
remember those.
and I was like, dude, I was the man. Like I felt so high speed.
I remember those. I'd look at them on the internet and wish, like, man, really, should I buy one? But I was always afraid to buy one. It's like somebody's going to look at me and it's like, this guy shouldn't be wearing it because he's not military, he's not law enforcement. So I kept my competition belt.
It was definitely one of those things where, you know, it had the molly on the outside. It was really wide. It had the buckle areas for like suspenders if you wanted to attach your own suspenders to it. And so I mollied like freaking everything to this. It's got, you know, the old typical, it's got molly, stick something on it. So I had pouches out the wazoo on this thing. Obviously, as a JTAC, had a lot of extra pouches for like, you know, range finders and compass and other things, other equipment, extra batteries, things like that. But ended up slimming some things down to pretty much what I usually run, which is the type of setup that I have on my Wilder belt today. And I actually was kind of turned on to the inner and outer belt when I was working with another JTAC unit, and those guys were running inner. They had actually taken Velcro from Walmart, and these guys were, you know, pushing it. It's actually the unit that I'm at now part time, but these guys they shoot a lot, and so they had actually taken Velcro from Walmart and had gotten strips of this stuff and made their own inner and outer belt system out of Velcro that they just stuck to itself, and they took pouches and stuck those on there. And I was like, remember, I'm like, that is ingenious. Like, how come I've never seen that? This is back in like 2013. And so I had seen this, and they had obviously gotten it from, you know, some CAG guys and stuff like that. So really seeing the evolution of what has become the standard now, the standard battle belt, I saw a long time ago and thinking that's ingenious. So ended up switching to I believe I had a Raptor tactical belt that I had gotten from some defense expo, and eventually got turned on to retire that, you know, and got turned on to some buddies that were like, hey, have you checked out Wilder Tactical? And I was like, no, who's that? And they're like, it's these guys. They're out of North Carolina. You know, the owner's an old Ranger bat dude. So immediately I was like, okay, you've got my attention. At least, you know, the guy that's running the company knows what he's doing. And so went out and they ended up hooking me up with a belt. They followed the Barrel and Hatchet page and were like, hey, check out our belts. And so I tried it. Blown away, man. They had really, instead of doing Molly, they really did some really cool things trying to push the limits of the belt. And at that time, the Cobra buckle had really started to become popular, right? So I mean, for the longest time, you know, running a Molly style belt to now I was running a Wilder tactical belt that had their, you know, their type of UAB universal type of attachments. And this is why, you know, I kind of like the mounting system that they have on Wilder Tacticals. One, it accepts Molly pouches, but two, they have universal clips that it actually screws, and there's Loctite on the screws, so your pouch doesn't actually come off or slide. So
yeah, those things are awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like you can tell these guys put some thought behind it. But yeah, I mean, we've been running, you know, I turned you onto it, and we've been running these belts for a minute, like a long time.
When you had what my first piece of Wilder gear was the mag pouches actually that you got me. I don't know if you remember that. Now that you said the Blue Alpha belt earlier, that's actually because I was running just like some competition style mag pouches, and you were like, hey, try these out because you can adjust the retention on them. And I attached those to my Blue Alpha belt. And then from there and turned on and getting their UAB belt. But yeah, those things are awesome, man.
I hadn't really seen anybody revolutionize the belt yet in a while. And so to see them come up with a mounting system that works with Molly, but was a lot more solid, that wouldn't slide around, and was also, if you have never tried weaving Molly through a Molly belt, it is one of the most painful and irritating things because it's so tight. All the fabric is so stiff and tight. So trying to weave Molly through a Molly belt is just a pain in the keister. So being able to just take those UAB pouches or those mounts and just slide it on and then just screw it in to lock it in place was amazing. It made me go like, okay, I can mess around with my belt and rearrange the pouches on it without dreading having to take a pouch off.
But the screws on the pouches, like constantly all the time when we're out training or we're out at the ranch and we're just shooting, we're just having some fun, whatever it is, running a bunch of different drills. At the ranch, we have our open gyms. Sometimes the open gyms get kind of physical where we're moving weight over top of walls, over top of obstacles, all that kind of good stuff. And I see guys are just losing gear. Sometimes it just looks like a freaking yard sale out there. Stuff falling off with the Wilder Tactical pouches, being able to screw them down and tighten them down and actually put a little Loctite on the back of the screw. My stuff is never coming loose and it just stays there. I don't even have to worry about it. It's awesome.
It's definitely one of those things where like, you see a lot of soup sandwiches that are on belt setups out there. And I think it's just because they don't mount the Molly right, or it's not attached correctly, or it's sliding all over the belt because the Molly is over the entire belt instead of in the actual slots to lock it in place. And with the Wilder Tactical system, it's a no-brainer. Like, it's just easy. And we've been running, dude. I mean, I remember talking to Pete, who's one of the guys at Wilder, and I was like, hey man, just letting you know, like, this is 2 years strong and I run this belt like Roy does every day. Like we're shooting literally every day, almost every day. And so to be able to crush that belt and I literally take the belt and chuck it into my box and drop it, and it's thrown into places where we use it like a tool. It's abused like a tool. It's holding up. The Velcro's not like tearing off. Which is, nothing's fraying, so you can obviously tell. And I've been to their shop. They really do take pride in the quality, and especially if you're wearing something that is getting used and abused that much, having your belt is your first line of gear, which is something I want to talk about actually with you, Roy, is how the battle belt is actually a first line of equipment. So, for example, for those of you who don't know, you have different lines of equipment, meaning if I have body armor on and a belt and a bag, if I have to ditch something because I need to run away, I'm ditching my bag. If I have to ditch my plates because I got shot in the plates, I'm ditching my plates.
Yeah.
But I can still work off of that line of gear. So if I lose my bag, I have enough equipment on my plate carrier or chest rig and my belt to be able to sustain living, eating, fighting, sleeping, survival, all that stuff. If I have to ditch my plate carrier, then I can still do the same stuff on my belt. Now, there's different types of belts that are set up for different purposes, but usually your general purpose belt, I like throwing that phrase out there a lot, but your general purpose belt should be able to sustain you if you have to ditch everything, worst case scenario.
Yeah, we were just talking about this when we were actually doing the GPR video. We're out there or in the woods, moving around for an extensive period of time, doing some different drills. And I didn't have my belt with me that particular day, and all I had was my chest rig, and I had my pack, which I had some water in my pack, if you remember, and I had a little bit of water on my chest. But at this particular point in time, like we were running out of water. Like I was starting to run out of water.
Yeah.
I did not bring enough water with me, and we were just talking about that. And it's like, and you had your belt on, and you reach back, for another bottle of water that you just had on your belt, and how important. We're just training right now. We had an out.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you had that bottle of water and bingo in my brain. I'm like, first line of defense, or first line for sure, all day long. A lot of people are just looking at carrying mag pouches and a pistol on there and a tourniquet, and some med, whatever. But that water was huge.
Yeah. And I think that came from, even if I would include another line of a gear, is the pouches on your pants, like your pockets. If I, back in the day, I used to carry, on deployments, I would carry water bottles in my pockets for missions, or I'd carry something, but I hate carrying stuff in my pockets. So I would usually throw something on my belt, so I can carry my water and stuff like that there. So if you don't have, like having stuff on your pockets, then you need, at least at a minimum, your belt is the last thing that should come off your body. Hopefully, or whatever your line of equipment is for your needs, you should have everything you need to survive and sustain and to fight off of that line of gear. So if I ditch a plate carrier, it's not the end of the world because I got my belt and I can sustain. If I ditch my bag or chest rig, I can still sustain. And that's a different way to set up a belt. Like if you're, we were playing with two different setups. One of them also being a gunfighting belt. So something that's just a belt that we use on the range. Yep. Roy and I teach a lot of classes. So having a belt that just has strictly mags and med to be able to run classes is just kind of important.
Yeah, and you're running. I recently have started experimenting around with their inner pad belt, the inner one that replaces the Velcro belt. Florida, we're summertime right now. It rains a lot. You're running just the Velcro inner right now, currently, right?
That's correct. Yeah, and I use the Velcro inner belt to actually hold up my pants.
Yeah, exactly. But so the other day we were shooting and it started raining. I threw my raincoat on. I was able to take my belt off and actually just throw it over top. And I tell you, that was my first experience with that inner belt. Wilder's inner padded belt per se. I've used padded belts before, but they're one that just connects straight to the Velcro of your typical normal gun belt, battle belt that you have set up. And that thing did not move. I mean, it was super comfortable. Very much impressed with that belt right there.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that belt is it kind of goes back to the old high-speed gear mentality of the having the padded belt, or the other companies that did the padded belt system, but they make it an option. So you can buy just the pad. Say, for example, you buy the inner and outer belt, you can actually buy a pad later on the website as an extra additional option.
Yep. That's what I did. I have my one belt, and then I just jumped on their website and ordered the pad so we can experiment around with it. And it's been great.
Something else that I've seen, or actually we've experimented with, is also like on a belt, the leg strap. I think for the longest time, we as a community have kind of gone away from drop leg holsters just because people were tired of having a pistol at their kneecap. But having a drop down holster, or a thigh ride or something like that, a lower holster that's above the knee but is dropped down from the waist,
kind of mid ride versus
mid ride,
and in between, just straight on the belt.
Yeah.
Versus low.
Correct.
Thigh drop.
Yep.
A mid ride belt.
So they have. I used to just take an old elastic strap from an old Safariland holster and put that on, and I had it just tight enough where if I was running, the holster wasn't smacking my leg as I was running, bouncing out. So the strap was just there to still, just hold it there and have the holster not move. But the problem is eventually it still pulls on your belt and makes your pants start to fall down. So Wilder Tactical came out with a actual minimalist strap with a rotating receiver type thing that goes on the QLS that rotates with your leg. So you will have the strap loosely onto your leg to prevent the holster from slapping your leg when you run, but it moves with your legs. So you're not, when I squat or I crouch into a kneeling or I'm running, I'm not pulling against the elastic of the strap, which is nice.
Yeah. And just like what you just said, as far as like being able to have it set up a little more loose compared to the elastic strap, like the Safariland style, the Indigo's ones that you order like on Amazon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The nice part about it is that you don't have to suck it in so tight to your leg where it's digging into your thigh.
Yeah.
With those type like that.
Yeah.
So. It's a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, and that's something else. Like, actually, I'm looking here at their website. They have the Urban Assault belt pad. It's $27.50. Like, that's such an amazing addition to your belt setup.
And talking about their website, dude, I was on there earlier today, trying to do a little, because I knew I was going to be remote, and just trying to familiarize myself with some of the product names, which obviously I didn't do a very good job. but sorry guys. But anyways, the coolest thing about them is their belt packages.
Yeah.
Like you have that for someone that doesn't know anything and what they're doing, that's just getting into this. They make it so simple to buy a belt, and you will virtually have everything that you need in a one-stop shop, and it's all top-notch quality. You're not having to pick and choose from another company. When I originally bought that Blue Alpha belt is a fantastic belt. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing it. It's a great belt. Still have it to this day. It's actually on loan to one of my buddies. He's using it. Okay, but that being said, I had to go and pick and choose things, and I didn't even really know what to buy. And Eric turned me on to, the Wilder tactical pouches and things like that. And I started attaching this stuff. So I had this belt that was built up from 3 or 4 different companies, which is fantastic. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But I had help building that belt out. There's a lot of guys out there that don't have help. They don't have the support of a community behind them, unfortunately, right now. Hopefully they do. But Welder Tactical makes it so simple. Jump on their website and just glance around, take a look at their belt packages. It's a one-click, add it to your cart, pick your color. Next thing you know, you got it in the mail. You put it together, and you're down the road.
Yeah, so. They definitely take a lot of the stress out of trying to figure out what you need by building these packages, and they're packages that are built for people who shoot. So like the people that are making these recommendations for what you should have on a belt, they're taking that input and they're building packages based off of shooters' perspective. So, for example, like I'm looking at the Urban Defender package. It's got 2 pistol, 2 rifle, and a tourniquet pouch. Like, if you need med, you can throw med on there. But like, I mean, you don't. They give you some bare bones options and numerous options to try and tailor what you need based off of your needs. And something else about their pouches, they were running a Kydex style pouch is their first gen type. But they have a new gen that's adjustable that is almost like a taco, like it has that, they call them the Urban Assault pouch.
Yeah, it's got a little bit more flex in it. It lays a little softer too versus the Kydex style. When you were talking about earlier, like throwing your belt up and just kind of throwing it into your trunk, it folds up a little nicer. That's one of the things that I noticed when I got to get my belt into a tighter confined space for when I'm traveling. Those softer style pouches, that's one of the cool factors to
it. Urban Assault pouch, and
okay,
they have different types of setups even for those. But I love those pouches. One, I love the Kydex ones, but 2, with the soft pouches, especially for more of that recce type of thing where you're trying to be a little bit more sneaky, a little bit more stealthy. Having that type of fabric versus plastic on metal or plastic on plastic, it makes less noise. So it's nice and it works really well. As far as retention, really good retention. Never had anything really slip out. I've seen tons of pouches that people are run and gun. And how much do we see it, Roy? Guys will be running, they get in the prone, and there's a freaking magazine goes flinging out of the pouch.
Dude, we see it. It's every single time.
So
all the time.
I mean, with that, with the pouches and with your belt, something that I want to talk to you guys about real quick with Roy is how many magazine pouches do I have, right? So like here on Wilder, they have 2 pistol, 2 rifle. Well, on my recce or general purpose style, more heavy loadout belt, I only have 1 pistol mag pouch. And the reason for that is I'm hoping to be using my rifle most of the time for crap is the fan, right? So if I'm using a pistol, crap has really hit the fan in my crap hit the fan situation. So if I'm reloading my secondary or reloading my pistol off my belt, and then I have problems. So for my shooter's belt, just because we do run and gun, we do all that type of stuff, teach classes, I have 2 pistol mag pouches. But for my normal general purpose belt loadout, I have 1 pistol mag pouch, and I put the other pistol mags I do need on my chest rig or my body armor or my bag. As far as the rifle pouch, on my shooter's belt, I do have 2. I used to only have 1 for the longest time, and I still only have 1 on my general purpose belt, and I call that my ready mag pouch. So you always reload faster from the hip, right? So if I was wearing a chest rig or a plate carrier and I'm doing a tack reload, I'm going to tack reload off of my ready mag pouch on my belt. Now, when I tack reload or I do a tactical reload, I'm going to also tactically reload my ready mag pouch on my belt. So I'm going to take a magazine off of my body armor chest rig, stick that into a full mag into my belt, my ready mag pouch on my belt, and then take the empty and reshuffle and reorganize the mags on my chest carrier or chest rig and plate carrier based off of my loadout and how I have it set up for me to pull the next. So make sure you're tack reloading your gear as well. Roy, I know that you have certain setups for your belt. How do you run that?
Yeah, so my general purpose belt is very similar to you. I have it currently set up with a Joustus actually pouch from Spiritus Tactical.
Oh,
Cool,
yeah.
yeah, cool thing about that is it gives me a little bit of general purpose setup that I can carry some stuff in a pouch. And then from Wiseman Company, I have their insert. Their insert is a Tigris. It's a one pistol, one rifle. Gives me a little bit more retention on my magazines versus the one that Spiritus offers. Nothing wrong with the Spiritus one. If you got it, it works. But I just like the Wiseman Company a little better. So I have that set up in there. I run one pistol on there, like I said, and I run that actually in that particular pouch. Cool thing about that set is if I need to throw like a flashlight in there or something like that, it still fits absolutely perfect in that Joustus slot. But I run a 24 round Glock mag in there, so I run a long stick in there. Not no 33, but 24 fits perfect because it is a little deeper than what a typical mag pouch is. So you have that ability to drop it in a little further, and then I run a rifle in there. And then from there, it's kind of set up with some other general purpose pouches and some medical and stuff like that. And back to like what Eric was saying, as far as tactically resetting your gear back up, I run everything else on my chest. And then my other belt is the shooter's belt, just like we said. It's running 2 rifle, 2 pistol. It's 100% Welder Tactical. It has their new pouches on it. Has their medical pouch, it has their dump pouch, and it's great. So it's a really comfortable belt to run. That's the one I probably wear the most because we're most of the time spending our time on the range teaching, doing classes, and just training. So
Yeah, I definitely am trying to bounce back and forth. I'm actually trying to roll the general purpose belt more just because I'm trying to wear more of my general purpose type equipment while I'm doing run and gun. But yeah, for teaching, absolutely, I'm running a shooter's belt.
Yeah, so disclosure, obviously, the Welder Tactical belt that I had been wearing, before that I was running my general purpose belt pretty much all the time. But then you get this brand new fancy belt that comes in, and it's sitting there and it's hanging on my shelf. How can I not run it? So I've been running it because it's just so pretty.
Yeah, exactly. That's sometimes it's like, oh man, this is so new, but also my other belt's so broken in.
I know, but so I was just trying to break it in, and
yeah,
I like it.
Well, I mean, kind of jumping into the general purpose belt a little bit more outside of what I need to fight. You know, we talked about first line of gear, the things that I need to fight, right? My pistol, my rifle pouch. I also have things for navigation, so I keep my compass on my belt. That way it's always attached to my body. I've got a compass for navigation and also a GPS on my pouch. I also do carry some MRE type options on my belt just as a last ditch effort for food if I need it, and also my spoon. I have an MRE spoon, and then I also have a pouch for water, and if I end up drinking that water, I still have a water bottle. So if you've ever been in a survival situation or been to a survival school or something like that, or been to a course like that, it stinks when you don't have anything to drink water out of. So keeping that water bottle pouch on me is important. And I also do keep a fire starter kit, emergency blanket, and a water procuration stuff, so iodine tablets, things like that, on my belt. So worst case scenario, I still have everything I need to survive: food, heat, fighting tools, navigation tools, all that stuff. And then on that general purpose belt, I also do carry a recce, or a what's it called, SE6, which is an SE knife. And instead of carrying a fighting knife only, like a more tactical knife, I have that survival knife. It's real thick, and I can use that in place of like a hatchet or some sort of tool to, one, procure things for survival purposes, but also too, if I need to use it as a fighting option, I can still do that. And SE knives, they're well known in the Air Force community for the survival specialists. I'm pretty sure that they used to get those issued. So if you're a SEER guy and you watch this channel, confirm or deny. But yeah, it's a great knife, super, super rigid, and they have a great warranty. I think it's a lifetime warranty. So that type of stuff I do keep on there. And then the medical pouch I actually get from Wilder Tactical, and it's an already vacuum sealed pouch with their medical stuff from North American Rescue. So, I mean, it's pretty much all in one blanket, like there's really not much more that you could ask for to have, but those are the types of things that you want to think about in your first, second, third line contingency options. If you have to ditch things, make sure whatever you have on your body, you have enough to survive, fight, and push on.
Yeah, definitely. It's been definitely a cool experience playing around with some different setups, continuing to mess with these belts, especially the general purpose one, as of lately, creating that more sustainability out of a belt. And we're learning. We're learning as we're going, experimenting with this. Eric, you've taught me a lot about it.
100%.
And two guys, I mean, if you got a general purpose belt that you're running right now or your setup, help some of these guys down out in the comments. Help me out. Jump in and tell me what your setup is, because I'd be curious too. Maybe something that I want to try.
100%, man. And that's something else, like, my inputs, is just things that I've gathered over the years. And those are things that I gathered from either personal experience or from guys, from Roy, from, military, civilian, law enforcement, everybody, like just good citizens taking all their inputs and their ideas and taking little bits and tidbits of that knowledge and being able to form my own type of gear setup. That's the best way to do it, is to really take all those different points of knowledge to be able to create your own personalized belt setup. And something else also, real quick plug, is whenever I am running that belt for, like, say for example, doing like helo stuff, if you have to run a helo lanyard, they do have the Cobra buckle, and so I will use that as a connect. Now I'm almost positive, don't quote me on this, I should probably know this, but the Cobra buckles, I believe, are rated for helo lanyard ops. So if you have to hook into a helo and run that actual buckle, I think is rated for helo operation. So if it's not, hit me in the comments below. I actually am curious about that. I'm almost positive that the actual licensed Cobra buckle is rated for that, and there actually is a rating that you have to get that certification. And if I think there's not very many actual nylon rated helo lanyard loops for an emergency helo lanyard, but if you know and just confirm that, put that in the comments below.
Yeah, most definitely.
Cool, man. Well,
Cool.
Well, this is our. I knew we were talking about gear. I knew I was going to talk a lot, but yeah, man. I mean, dude. All right, we're doing a traditional 3-hour podcast, and I'm just going to be talking about gear.
Yeah. What else? What else you got for belts, man? You're the guru. You're the belt guru. Yeah. This is the conversation that I obviously, guys, I run a lot of different gear, but Eric has so much more background in it. I just love to listen to him talk about gear. Like, he'll talk about it for hours, like, and just constantly resetting it up. The guy he comes up with some of the coolest stuff sometimes, and I'll be like, he'll have his gear set up and he'll run it, and I'm like, man, that's gonna freaking work. And then he comes back and rips it all down, and like, nope, it didn't work. That's part of the experiment, right? And that's how you build as far as what fits you as a shooter, right?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the gear is something that if you try something, you have to try it. That's the key. Is you have to actually not just set it up and look at it and wear it around the house, but you have to try it. Wear it with a ruck, wear it with body armor, wear it with your chest rig, wear it in a run and gun type session or training with your buddies. That's the only way to figure out, man, this pouch really digs into my freaking hip. This pouch is great right here. Oh, wait, that's impeding my draw when I try to draw my pistol. Or it's impeding me reholstering, and it makes it dangerous. So like you have to figure all those things out. The biggest one is like, oh, I sit into a car and I can feel this knife handle digging into my back. So like those types of things are things that, you know, you're always going to be reconfiguring gear, changing things up, figuring out new setups. New equipment comes out, you end up changing your setups too. Like, oh, here's some new technology or a new piece of kit that I have to have, like the Josta pouch or this new, you know, GPS or this new whatever. So you're going to end up reconfiguring your gear as well to accommodate advances in technology as well. And it's just a fun thing to do too. Like, so try things out. That's the biggest thing. That's the one reason why I love Wilder Tactical, is because they, one, have experience in it, but two, take inputs from people, and they found a need, and they are identifying these needs, and they're making a quality product about it. Which is why if you are a business or a company, that is what Barrel and Hatch is about. We want to find those products that are awesome, that work, that we want to stand behind and stand next to, and we want to promote and co-brand with you. So like, you know, so that way people on the end who are listening can get like, man, these guys, they put some thought behind it. They want to be smart shooters. They actually go out and train. They, you know, work and cater to a community that is amazing, that is training and encouraging each other. And they're trying to push out these pieces of equipment and gear that really works as not just a good idea fairy. So we want to stand with you, other companies, small businesses, other whatever business you have that works towards preparedness, and bring you up with us. So if you're interested in being a part of the Barrel and Hatchet community and working with us as a business or small business, and coming up with putting out good products that we can, you know, push out to really good people together as a community, and then hit us up in the DMs or send us a message. That's what we're all about. I mean, our motto is our motto. Sorry, Roy, I'm on a rant. You told me this. I told you this is a gear episode.
Go.
You know, our motto is "Together we rise," which means in Latin we have "SIMUL, AUTEM, RESURGEMUS," which means we all come up together. At the end of the day, it's the user that matters. It's the end user, right? We're not here to make a buck and make a quick dollar off a fast idea. We're here to build you up, help you be more prepared, be ready, but also be smart. And encourage you to train. So I know that there's a lot of people out there right now that are dissing on or talking down on people who train and become more prepared, and companies who are not supporting that. But the companies who are supporting that, we want to stand with you and rise with you, and we can all come up together. And you, the user, continue to train. Don't listen to anybody else that's telling you, oh, don't try that, or, you know, you're a nerd or whatever. You only find out what works for you and your gear setups by training and actually using it. That is the reason why I love gear and I love talking about this stuff, is because it requires an end user to go out and put in the time and the effort and the knowledge to share with others. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah, just buying a bunch of gear. First off, Eric, extremely very well said. Yeah,
that's my rant.
Very, very well said. But there are tons of people that are purchasers. Goes back to one warrior, one sword, but that don't put the time behind gear. There's guys that have as much gear as what we were talking about. They'll have, you know, you'll have 50 different firearms of the same, you know, and I'm guilty of it myself, but that don't ever put the time in behind it. Yeah, if you get what I'm trying to say. I know I'm rambling here, but no, 100%. You know, just collecting gear. Hey, you know what? You want to collect it, but take some of it and get out there and use it and learn what physically works for you. Look what is going to help you survive. Look at what's going to help you be able to sustain, you know, in your environment.
Yeah. And also, like, you know, make sure that you can take input from people like us. I take input from a ton of different sources and people who have a lot of knowledge, a lot more knowledge than I do. And I'll try it. I'll try their setup. I'll put something where I think that it goes, but then I go and I try it. That's the key, as I try it and see, does that work for my needs and what I need it to work for, or it doesn't. And then you may end up finding something else out on the way that only you know, because if you happen to try it in a certain way that nobody else has, and that's something that you should share with other people, so that way we can also try and do that type of setup.
Yep, I agree with that 100%. I'm constantly coming to you. I'm constantly coming to Ben with Wiseman Company. Ben is a great at experimenting with gear. Fred looking at his setup. At Counting Coup, and the guys over at Spiritus.
Yeah.
There's so much knowledge out there from guys that have spent time using it, and then guys that have in it for a job. But then there's other guys that have spent so much time just putting effort into training themselves to making themselves better with it, that they have a very valuable opinion also. And there's so much knowledge when it comes to it. If you guys don't know, look, like Eric said, look to others, put it together, run it. If it doesn't work, make the small little tweaks.
Yep. And sometimes it just takes going out and sleeping in the woods and walking around to figure out what works and what doesn't. So,
yep.
With that, go out there and train. Go out there and find a community of other guys. Go online. Find other dudes that will help train in this community. Look onto the comment section. Link up with other guys. You might find someone that lives in your area that wants to train with you, that wants to go out and help build up that community. And the community right here, the Barrel and Hatchet community, you guys are what makes it special. You guys are the ones that keep this thing going. You're the ones that we see so much transfer of knowledge going on in the comments, and it's positive transfer of knowledge. Keep doing that. That's what we need right now. People need knowledge, people need support, and people need advice. And so that's something that we want to continue to encourage, and go out there and train as well.
Hey, yep. Very well said again, Eric. And last but not least, out of me, guys, before I let you go this evening here, is that if you guys do enjoy our content, you guys have been great. Our supporters are fantastic. We love you guys. We really do. It's so awesome to be out on the range and seeing our gear, and then guys sending us photos, guys DMing us on IG and stuff like that, asking questions. But if you guys want to continue helping out other ways in supporting besides just picking up a hat, things like that, which we appreciate, we have a subscriber link down below. It's $2 a month, guys, and we're already getting some guys signing up for it. Click on it, subscribe to it if you want to. One of the cool things, one of the perks that I'm super excited to offer that we're going to be doing is these episodes like this right here, where you guys will be able to join in. So our supporters that are the subscribers that are the $2 a month subscribers will be able to join in and ask questions while we're mid episode here. And me and Eric will be able to answer them. So if you got a question for us or a question for Eric or a question for Tyler, Tyler will be joining in on these also on the backside. So definitely looking forward to that and building a supporter community, and you guys will be able to communicate back and forth within there. So, and help each other out.
Yeah. Absolutely, Roy. And like always, go check out our Instagram if you want to see some behind-the-scenes stuff about what's going on or what new products or drops are coming in, for example, like the Ghost or any other things that are coming down the pipe. Check that out and send us a DM if you have any questions. And if you're a small business or a business and you want to help other people be more prepared and kind of join into that Barrel and Hatchet community to rise together and to be able to provide the best support for the end user, hit us up in the DMs, hit us up in the email for any of that, and also your marketing needs. So anyways, any parting words, Roy?
Get out and train, guys. That's it.
Go out and train, fellas. Anyways, this is Eric and Roy with another Hatchet Cast episode about battle belts, and we will see you on the next one. Continue to train.